right, man. It is game time, man. Welcome back for this week's show. We have a review of our Week 3 CSB USFL Rankings. We have our Week 4 CSB Rankings coming up. We have a lot of movement within the ranks, so that's going to be interesting to see how things shaked out. And we have our new number one team within our rankings. So, hey, man, stick around. Let's see how it all shakes out. Let's get to it. Like I said, man, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. This is Common Sense Bets, and I am J.K. Wilson. And remember, we are a small show using a common sense approach in a large sports betting world. Man, welcome to this channel. Glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and by clicking that subscribe button down below, you become a common sense soldier, and then you join the Common Sense Bets Army. And that's just people out there just doing the right thing, making good choices and good decisions with their bankroll and choosing bets with good value. So, like I said, man, welcome to the show. If you like the content so far and you look forward to more videos like this, hit that like button, because hitting that like button does help others see our content. And those that have been here before, my CSB soldiers that have been riding with me so far, also remember to hit the like button, because that just helps spread our content to others who hopefully will enjoy what I'm doing here. But hey, man, it's enough about this, about this part of the show. Let's get to what we came here for. So before we jump into the Week 4 rankings, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the rankings for Week 3 so we can remind ourselves what we put down on paper. Hang on while I get that up right quick for you. All right, guys, I should have that up right now. You should be seeing it. Common Sense Bets, Week 3 CSB rankings. We're going to just run through them right quick. At 8 was Michigan last week. Pittsburgh was at 7. You can see their rankings from Week 2 as well. You can see, they moved around a little bit, flip-flopped. They gave us that 7 versus 8 game this past weekend. Then we had the Generals and the Stars filling out the 6th and the 5th spot. Once again, they matched up this weekend. It's just odd how my rankings went, because these games were matchups. So we had Houston number 4, Tampa Bay number 3, and Birmingham Stallions were one of the only 2-0 teams at number 2, and the New Orleans Breakers at number 1 with the other 2-0 team. And you can see their rankings from Week 2, and let's not stay on this too long, but you know how things happened this past weekend. So let's just go ahead and get into it as we take this back down. Hey, man, let's get to it. All right, like I said, let's just go ahead on and jump right into it. Coming up on the screen right there, you guys should be able to see it. At number 8, Pittsburgh Maulers. Currently 0-3, coming out that North Division. Last week's rank in the Week 3 had them at number 7. So let's take a look and see some of the reasons why I put them at number 8. And as we can see here, looking at some of the team stats for the Pittsburgh Maulers, passing yards 149, currently ranked 7th in the league. 105 yards rushing, man, that's just pitiful. They're no rank. They're only totaling 254 yards per game. Third down efficiency is also 7th place in the league currently, and that's sitting at 25%. The only bright spot so far with the team stats is that +2 there for the turnover ratio, and that's currently have them tied for second. A couple of key players. QB Josh Love, 40 of 73, 444 yards. That's in 3 starts, guys. 2 touchdowns only, and he got that balanced off with 2 interceptions. So, Josh Love, I mean, he might not be getting it done there in the passing game. Those numbers are on the other side to kind of show that. And the same thing at running back. I mean, Garrett Groshek, 44 rushes, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, and that's in 3 starts. So clearly a quarterback and running back are not getting it done. I don't think either of the answer there for the Maulers after seeing them for 3 weeks. But that's for the head coach to decide, and we'll see what happens in week 4 if there's any shakeups in that area. Wide receiver Bailey Gaither, 10 receptions on 159 yards. I mean, he's been targeted 16 times and did the most with it, but clearly that whole offense is kind of struggling. So let's put the defense out on the field, and that's kind of highlighted by our linebacker Kiyava Tazino. Man, he's been out there balling on the defense, 24 tackles, 14 of those solo, 10 assists. Man, got a half a sack sitting in there and an interception. So clearly hustling out there for Pittsburgh Mauler defense, who's on the field a lot. And let's just take a look at the big man. Always got to mention the big guys down in the trenches on the line, on the defense line there. Defensive end Carlo Kemp getting it done with 18 tackles, 10 of those solo, 8 assisted. And the big man is getting it done with 2.5 sacks. And couldn't get this on the screen for him. But my man's also sitting with a forced fumble and a fumble recovery for the big guy right there. So that's it for the number 8 Maulers. And we'll go ahead on and move to our next pick. All right, guys, you should see it popping up on now at number 7. It's the Michigan Panthers. No surprise there. They're sitting currently at 1-2 in the North Division. Last week they just flip-flopped with, they were number 8. So basically our teams flip-flop, as I mentioned earlier, that 7-8 matchup. But I mean, Michigan did win the game. So therefore, they are number 7. And as you can see on the screen, taking a look at some of the stats, I mean, I'm not going to dwell on this. I mean, 8th place in passing. They are doing pretty good in that rushing game. So I'm really going to highlight that. And their third down efficiency sitting at 40.9%. I mean, guys, that's tops. That's first in the league, actually, at third down percentage. And that run game, like I say, is pretty stout as well, sitting second. They're averaging 169.3 yards per game. And I'm going to mention the quarterback before I get back on the running back. I mean, Shea Patterson did not start this game, but ended up well once Paxton Lynch got hurt. I mean, Paxton couldn't complete passes, had to come out, and you can hear it on the sideline. He couldn't connect anything deep if he had a go route or something like that. So Shea Patterson did not start, but ended up playing the bulk of the game and did okay. I mean, ended up with 1 touchdown, no interceptions so far, and was 39 of 71 for 361 yards. But man, this Michigan Panthers team is a running team. I mean, the record is not showing it, but they pounded this game, and I mean, this team into the ground doing this game. I mean, Reggie Corbin, Stevie Scott III, Cameron Scarlett. I mean, these guys are putting up some numbers. You can see the numbers there, touchdowns for the 2 guys there, and then Cameron Scarlett. I mean, just getting it all done. 288 all-purpose yards, 135 of those from the kick return, and the remaining of those coming in the run game. He's also catching the ball a little bit out the backfield as well. So he's pretty much getting it done, and that's a 3-headed monster, as I mentioned in one of my earlier videos when talking about the Panthers. Their wide receiver, Lance Lenore Jr., 14 receptions, 135 yards so far this season on 27 targets with 1 touchdown. But he's pretty much struggling because, I mean, there's a problem there at the quarterback. So just not really getting him the ball the best way possible, so we won't judge him. So that's it there for the number 7 Michigan Panthers. And let's get to our next pick. All right, guys, moving on to number 6. At number 6, I have the Philadelphia Stars. And you should see that up on the screen right now. Philadelphia Stars. They were number 5 in the week 3 rankings, falling down to number 6, sitting at 1-2 in the North Division. And here's the reason why, guys. As you see on the screen now, I mean, Philadelphia lost that game pretty bad, in my opinion. I mean, it just was horrible. So, I mean, they were doing great in the passing game. I mean, actually, they're 219.7 yards average in first. But, I mean, look at everything else. 7th, 5th, 6th. Not much going on there on the offensive side of the ball. And defensive side as well. I mean, they're just getting scored on, and the other team is controlling the ball. I mean, key players, Brian Scott is basically tearing it up. He's throwing the ball. I mean, he's getting out great quarterback rating there. He's 60 of 85, 558 yards for 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, he's getting it out there to tight end Bug Howard. Now, skip over the running backs because, honestly, look at the production there. There's no running game whatsoever with Philadelphia, and that's why they're getting shut out. Bug Howard is pretty much the primary weapon. Him and wide receiver Jordan Sewell, the junior, both of them sitting at 11 receptions with equal yardage, basically 136 to 145, and basically equal targets, 15 for Bug. Well, I love that name, guys. And 18 targets there for Jordan Sewell. So, they're just not getting it done on the offensive side, and that's the reason why I have them at number 6. All right, guys, let's go number 5. Houston Gamblers, currently 1-2 in the South Division. Last week's ranking, they were number 4. You see all that right there on the screen. Let's take a look why I gave them that rank. You should see that popping up as well. Number 5, Houston Gambler, team stats. Sitting there at 154 yards passing, man, that's 6 overall. That running game is not doing too bad. It's just, it's hit and miss though on offense. They can't keep a drive going, but the running game is generating, good running. They're sitting 3rd currently with 132.2 yards per game, but only averaging 286 yards overall per game. So just not getting it done, I think, in the passing side right there. And that's kind of confusing, but I think it's happening because 3rd down. That's it right there. 8th rank, 23.3%. They just can't sustain drives. Getting some good runs here and there, but just can't sustain drives. And sitting dead last in the league on 3rd down efficiency there, and with a +2, currently tied for 2nd in the turnover percentage right there. So, as we can see, they got some work to do there offensively. Defensively, which I put the stats up here, it's like a tale of 2 teams. One half, they play a certain way. The other half, they just kind of, don't show up. Strong one moment, weak the next moment. Do got some good standouts. Look down the bottom there. You got linebacker Donald Payne, man, sitting on 41 tackles. Along with defensive end Chris Odom with 4.5 sacks already for the season. So doing well there. Quarterback Clay Thorson, he's chucking the ball pretty good there, 445 yards, 5 touchdowns, but once again, problems in the turnover department. 5 interceptions there currently. The running game is not really doing a whole lot. Mark Thompson there. 53, I think is the error there on him. And then Darnell Howland, 11 rushes for 310 yards, 1 touchdown. And then the wide receiver Isaiah Zuber, 7 receptions, 136 on 12 targets, getting the bulk of the touchdowns there with 3. So at number 5, the Houston Gamblers. All right, guys, let's move on. Keep it moving. We're at number 4, hitting on the New Jersey Generals, currently sitting 2-1 in the North Division. Last week's rank in the week 3, they were at number 6, so they come up again a little bit there, while Philadelphia did a little bit of backsliding as well as Houston. So number 4, New Jersey Generals. Let's take a look as to why on our Common Sense Bets team stats chart here. Number 4, New Jersey Generals. Passing yards, sitting middle of the pack there at 4th, 173.3. Rushing yards, man, that's where they kind of dominate, and we'll talk about that when we hit the key players, but you can see it right there, sitting at first. 201, man, they're putting it out there. So that's giving them a nice total of 375 yards. Not really getting it done in the third down efficiency department there, sitting in 6th place and also -2 and tied for 6th in turnovers. Now, the situation is kind of tricky here in New Jersey. I mean, we got quarterback Luis Perez. I mean, he started the season off. He's been starting the games for the most part. But the Generals have been using 2 quarterbacks. So you'll see Perez is sitting at 315 for 2 touchdowns with the interception. But I also included quarterback DeAndre Johnson. I mean, he's sitting 14 of 22. A little bit better, completion percentage. I mean, he's not taking the bulk of the passes, but he's getting in on key plays, and he's completing a nice percentage of them. He's sitting at 237 yards. Now, he hasn't scored a touchdown in the air, but if you watch the games, you notice that I have that he's got it on the ground. And if you notice, I have quarterback DeAndre Johnson again. No, that's not a misprint, guys. I mean, this guy should be running, a running back as well, because, he clearly can throw the ball and he clearly can run the ball. So he's a threat at the quarterback position, hitting on 33 rushing attempts for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns there. So I don't know what they're going to do in New Jersey, but if I was the general of the generals, I think I would consider a switch in the quarterback with DeAndre Johnson starting. I don't know if the 2 quarterback system is working well for the team structure on offense, as the team stats indicate. However, running back Trey Williams is kind of keeping him in there. I mean, he's a pretty good running back there. Only 104 yards receiving there on 13 receptions. His running stats are, decent as well. I mean, DeAndre Johnson is pretty much tearing it up in the running game for him, but he's just contributing across the board, as you can see there with the 343 all-purpose yards. So I mean, he's getting it done from the backfield to catching the ball out the backfield to lining up in different spots in receiver positions, and of course in the return game there. Now, defense has been playing pretty well. And key players there is linebacker Chris Orr with 21 tackles. That's total tackles, actually. And linebacker DeJuan Hines also with 21 total tackles. So those guys getting the there for the Generals defense. So we have them at number 4. All right, guys, moving right along, speed this thing up a little bit. At number 3, same as last week, we have the Tampa Bay Bandits. I didn't put where they are, but they are sitting currently 3rd place in the South Division. I'll get that up on the next chart. And as you can see, their rank last week was number 3. There are reasons why they're still number 3. First of all, I mean, they won, and I know the Breakers lost, but however, they lost to the Breakers. So right now, 3 weeks in, I can't move them up any higher. They did lose big games. They still have to face the Stallions, and so we'll see how they do against them as well. But they did lose to the Breakers. So you can see stat-wise some of the reasons why they're still at 3. I mean, they're doing well in some departments. Most notably on offense, so that 3rd down efficiency sitting at 3rd. But however, you can see why they're number 3 and the mistakes they're making for some of the ranks that they have 5th, and 8th. Quarterback-wise, I do want to touch on something. Tuamu is, good quarterback. You can see the stats: 502 yards on 86 completions, 49 attempts, 2 touchdowns. But the 4 interceptions. Now you go back over to the team stats. Turnovers, -6. And that is number 8. So you can see, 4 of them right there with their quarterback. So, as good as he is and as much as that he's been touted to be the best in this USFL league, I'm not quite so certain if he has it all together just yet. The ground game with B.J. Emmons, 116. But he also has 2 fumbles. So, that's 6 right there of the 8. That's all 6 of their turnovers, which makes them rank 8. Jawan Washington is helping out there in the running game. He has actually 32 rushes for 109 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Derek Dillon, 7 receptions, 135 targets, kind of getting it done, for them on at a wideout position. Eight targets there for him. And then their tight end has been a good piece for them, fitting in well with the offense. And that's tight end Cheyenne O'Grady, 12 receptions, 121 yards on 17 targets. So that's the number 3 Tampa Bay Bandits, and let's move right along. All right, guys, let's jump on it. Number 2, you could expect it based on what I said. The number 2 New Orleans Breakers, man, what a heartbreak for my team. They are now 2-1 in the South Division. They were currently number 1, and it was a quick stay for them. So let's just take a look and kind of see what happened. Tough game, man. They were right there. Really could have won that game. Birmingham, however, came to play. Got to give all credit to that Birmingham defense, man. Look, I'm not a crybaby. Game is game. They came, they got it, they won it. However, man, take a look at these Breakers, man. Number 2 overall in passing. Number 4 overall in the rushing game. Hitting 330.7 yards per game, man. That's dynamite right there. And third down efficiency sitting at 40.4%. And that's second overall in the league, y'all. So, they're getting it done, man. And they're sitting currently tied at a +2 for the turnover rate. But let's take a look over here at the key players. Our QB, Kyle Sloter, he's throwing it, man. He's getting it out there. I think he's the best quarterback right now. He's not getting credit for it, or maybe he is. Maybe I'm just missing it. But 68 for 113. Man, that's dynamite. 656 yards production-wise there. 4 touchdowns through the air. But those 2 interceptions was costly, with one of them being in the game against the Stallions, man, and that thing was returned for a pick 6, and basically, costing the game there. It was turnovers. Running back Jordan Ellis, 64 attempts, 243 yards. 243 yards, y'all. 1 touchdown and 1 fumble. And once again, that's the thing that's kind of hurting my Breakers. They getting it done, but then they turn it over at the most inconvenient times. Wide receiver Johnny Dixon is rounding things out there. The wideout position, 16 receptions on 165 yards on 25 targets, 3 touchdowns. So my man is definitely high pointing those balls and getting out there and running those routes and basically dominating the DBs so far. And then throw in tight end Sal Cannella. He's getting it done there as well. A good part of the offense with 13 receptions for 133 yards. And like I said, a solid contributor with 20 targets. So, Sloter's looking for those 2 guys a lot, man. And that running game is hitting it a lot. Let's turn it over to the defensive side. And, linebacker Gerard Fernandez has emerged as a leader on that defense, getting 31 total tackles so far for that team. Defensive end Davin Bellamy, he's been the main man so far this season, y'all. But I gotta give credit to that Stallions offense as well. As they had a game plan for Mr. Bellamy, and they held him out. I think he had 1 tackle. I gotta check the stats again. I don't have those currently in front of me, but he didn't have a good game at all, and maybe the reason why we ended up losing it. It wasn't a blowout, but we did lose it by a good little amount there. I think 8 points if I remember right. And Mr. Bellamy rounds it out with 4 sacks. So that's it for my number 2 Breakers. They had to stay up on top, and now they are at number 2, and I hope they can bounce back next week. And with that, y'all, let's get on to the getting on and take a look at our number 1 team. All right, with that said, guys, you should see it on the screen right there. Number 1, Birmingham Stallions, the only 3-0 team left in the league. Currently number 1 in the South Division. I did have them last week at number 2, and I made a good argument for that case, but they clearly are the number 1 team as of right now after beating my New Orleans Breakers. They're on a great game and good performance on their part. So let's just kind of take a look at, what they did to get it. And like I said, hats off to them. That passing game, it's right there. Third place, 205.7 yards. They're sitting 5th at the rushing game, not quite the same as the Breakers, but yet getting it done. And I'll talk about that more in a second. Total yards, man, right underneath the Breakers. They're probably, stat-wise number 2, but rank-wise number 1, because they're sitting at 327 yards per game. So they're putting it out on the offensive side there. Third down efficiency, 36.6 for 4th. And then those turnovers at a +3. And that's the thing, man. They're first place right there. And turnovers gets it done, especially if you're converting those turnovers to points. And they are, which they did against my Breakers. So, with that said, move on to the key players. I'm not going to harp on that. Key players for them, and this is to me the number 2 quarterback in the league. You see it right there. That is Jamar Smith, 46 of 89 for 582 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So he's just like Slaughter. He's getting it done. Actually has 1 more passing touchdown than Slaughter, and has a head-to-head victory as well, because he beat Slaughter, beat the Breakers and my team in the game. CJ Marable is getting that rock. He's toting it for 39 attempts for 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Like I said, they're not turning the ball over, man. They're clearly winning that battle. But he's not by himself, man. Take a look at the stats yourself. There are several running backs on the Stallions. Basically, you could say they have Stallions in the backfield. Man, they're getting it done. And he's not the only one over 100 yards there, as they have multiple running backs over 100. The same thing in the wide receiver area. Start off with Victor Bolden Jr. sitting there with 33 receptions on 154 yards. Man, guy's got 33 targets. Jamar Smith is just chunking it out there, man. He's hitting out. He's just throwing it. 1 touchdown so far, but not just to Mr. Bolden. He's getting Osiris Mitchell into the mix. 8 receptions on 144 yards. He's making the count when he does get the chance. He's getting 17 targets. But once again, look at the stats. You'll see he's spreading that ball around to at least 4 receivers, including these 2 mentioned here. So, man, the Stallions are getting it done on both sides of the ball, which comes now to the defense. I got a few stats here. I don't know if you can see it. I had to make it smaller to fit it all in, because I had to mention both of these players, and that's linebacker DeMarcus Gates. Man, that dude is just sideline to sideline. He's everywhere, bro. He was just all over my Breakers. Our running game was tough, but he was making it hard to get those yards. And 27 total tackles for him. And my main man, I love this dude's name. The linebacker, Scooby, right? The third, I couldn't fit the third in there, so he's the third Scooby from that family as a football player, and I just love the story behind it, and I love his name. But he's getting it done out there on the field as well with 26 total tackles. So, man, that's it for for the week 4 rankings, bro. And look forward to some exciting games coming up. Congratulations to the Birmingham Stallions. All right, y'all, that's it, man. I know it was a little bit lengthy. I don't think it was quite as long as the last one, and I won't keep it here too long. I think that last one was 50, almost 45 minutes, 42 minutes, but we're going to round it up, guys. Remember, if you like this video, I didn't do it a lot because we had a lot to cover with the rankings, but please remember, subscribe down below, man. We are still a young channel. I'm on my way to 1,000 subscribers. Man, I need you guys' help. I can't do it without you. For all the common sense bet soldiers who've been riding with me so far, I appreciate you. Thank you. I look forward to putting out more videos for you to enjoy. For those that are new here, please remember to hit that like button. If you like the content of this video, look forward to more. I'm going to have my picks coming out later this week. And I just want to thank everybody for enjoying my rankings. I think they've been pretty spot on so far. And with that said, guys, this is Common Sense Bets. I am J.K. Wilson. Deuces.
In my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to